everybody. Happy new week. I trust you're doing amazing. And this morning I have got someone that I actually get to spend quite a bit of time with. Actually, I'll make sure my comments are open here live, Jules.
Okay.
But someone I get to spend a lot of time with, and that started off with as an author of ours, and she still is an author. Oh, sorry, my phone. She's still an author of ours, but she's also our publications coordinator in our business, Julie Fisher, right next to me, soon to be 3 times published author. So we thought we'd jump on today and share a little bit about her third book that's just in pre-launch, but about to be released. Is it right at the last stages, Jules, of layout and all that?
Yeah, I'm actually just waiting for my proof copy to come now. So I'm really hoping it comes in the next couple of days. So
Yeah, amazing. But you can see there behind Jules, she has written 2 other books. Her very first one was at our May 2019 retreat, The Unexpected Journey, and then The Magic of Inclusion was after that. And now From the Hearts of Mums is the third book. There it is. You can show it to us. It's a beautiful illustration on that particular book, and it's you tell us, Jules, what is this third one? Obviously, you self-authored the first 2.
Yep.
What is this third one about, and why did you write it? I know it's a massive one. Was it about 67,000 words?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's huge. So because of the feedback that I've received with my books about people getting an insight into our world and learning about the world of disability, I thought, well, our story is just one story. Everybody's is so different, like as you say, we're sort of traveling along the same road, but we jot off onto different lanes, and we all have different experiences, and all of our experiences can help different people as well. So over COVID, I made some amazing connections both here in Australia and overseas. Plus I have a gorgeous group of girlfriends that are my support network for when I had Darcy. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to share all of their journeys? Because as I got to know them, I was interested in the different things that they've done and, different strategies they've used. And so I thought that could be a good book. So I actually started planning it when The Magic of Inclusion was in its final stages. That's the thing about writing a book. I think you get to the end of one and you start thinking about what's next. So I made a plan. I asked quite a few. I probably asked about 17 mums if they would be interested, because I knew that a couple would probably say no. And I got a yes from 12, and 4 of them are from the UK and 2 from the US. And I started planning, okay, how's this going to look and all of that sort of stuff. So what I did was I made a list of questions, but I didn't want it to be like an interview book. I just wanted it to be a story book. So the questions were mainly just to get them speaking about what I wanted to include in the book. And I interviewed them on Zoom and recorded it, and then did the transcriptions and cleaned it up, and then they self-edited, and then I just started putting it all together. I've included our story again in there too, and I think I've written it a little bit differently, included a few different things. So
you interviewed them, or did they write their section?
I actually interviewed them, so they spoke it, which I think was really good, because it really came from the heart. And I didn't give them a limit on words either, because I wanted them to really tell what they wanted to tell as well, which is why it's such a big book. But it's good because they're all separate stories. So if it looks too big to read from start to finish, you can just pick it up and pick any story to read, and just get through them that way. The age range of the people with Down syndrome in the book are 2 to 73.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. And Doug and Bonnie, who are the last chapter, and he's a 73-year-old, their story is very, very unique, because she wasn't his mum. She was his carer, and he was their roommate for 21 years. So I was rapt when she said yes, because it's a very unique story. And it's also a story of hope for families, that there are people out there that will be there for our kids when we're not there anymore. So,
I love that. It's so cool. What's the tagline of the book? Do you want to just read it out?
the tagline is stories of love and inclusion in the world of Down syndrome.
Yeah, nice one. Just in case people didn't kind of relate it, because obviously From the Hearts of Mums could be around anything, but of course people heard about the first and the second book. That's kind of, it goes on that tangent, and that's wonderful. I think everyone feels like they're alone. I think when they have a child with Down syndrome, and then like they're going through particular challenges, so to have a community around you of like-minded people with similar, and then to figure out what's likely to happen at different stages of life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We read Darcy's story up to the age of 14, I think it was the first book.
Yes.
Yeah, and then now he's what, 17? Is that right?
17, and next year is going to be his last year of school. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're starting to go on a different journey now with him, and starting to look at what life is going to look like for him when he finishes school. So that's going to be the fourth book. It's going to be a follow-up to the first book.
Adulthood, independence, or, you know, all those different stages, and different kids with Down syndrome have different challenges, right?
That's right. Like we all do, I guess. You know, we all have different challenges, but definitely. And I think, you know, what you touched on just then, supporting other families, are what these books do as well. You know, they do show, you know, there's beautiful pictures of the mums and the kids, and then there's a beautiful photo of the families at the end of each chapter. So it shows them, you know, that they're family just like everybody else, and reading their stories hopefully will be good for other families coming into the Down syndrome community. So
I think it's really positive. I think sometimes, and I don't know, I can't speak from personal experience, but maybe you can tell me, it can feel all doom and gloom in the beginning. What's life going to be? An unknown, right? And unpredictable. So if they read a book such as this, or your first couple of books, they can get that insight that you can have an amazing, happy life, and be a normal family, and, you know, you're just going to have different things that you're going to have to learn to do, and how to do them and navigate them. So it gives them hope and positive outlook towards the future, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it is very daunting at the start, because the road that you thought you were going on with your child changes completely, and you've got no idea what's coming, you know. And unfortunately, you don't get a lot of resources from the medical side of things. So it's other support that you have to look for. In today's age, there's online stuff, so you can hop onto Facebook and look for some groups straight away. When I had Darcy, there was no Facebook or anything like that, but I was lucky because I had a friend who had a daughter, or has a daughter, with Down syndrome, and she was doing a support group. So I just joined their support group, which was awesome. And, you know, there's other bodies like Down Syndrome Victoria that can help too. But I think when you read and listen to people's lived experiences, you know, even with the struggles, you know, these kids, you know, they're amazing human beings like everybody else, and they can teach us so much. They've got so much to give to the world. You know, like one of my favorite things about Darcy is his complete unconditional acceptance of other people. Like he just embraces everybody. And if there is something that he doesn't like about you, well, that's always a bit of a flag for me. I always think, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, because he has no filter as well. So, like, you know, he's a very funny boy, but so happy. Like, you know, you can't help but being happy around him all the time. You know what I mean?
He's got a good energy, and you know, in saying, if he doesn't like you, he doesn't pick on you, and he doesn't you know, make you feel bad. He just leaves you alone. And you know, the people that he does love, he gives it 110%. And he's a very funny, cheeky young man.
I love that. So when you had him, is this one thing that you felt was missing in information out there from real families? That's why you wrote your books?
I think so, yeah. Because you get a lot of negative stuff when you get diagnosis and things like that, you know, that and look, that's what they have to do. They have to give you the facts, and they have to tell you what may happen, what may go wrong. You know, people with Down syndrome do have some do have some very complex medical issues. But in saying that, then, you know, like typical people can have complex medical issues as well. So I think sharing your story is that positive outlook on it, and shows you that even though there is a disability, there's still lots of love and lots of fun you can have, and lots of learnings you can get from these guys. Like they're incredible. I love being part of this community, you know, and Darcy's got some older friends as well, which I love, because I can have a look at what's coming, you know, like, and I've done that since he was a baby. You know, if I saw a little toddler in the shops with Down syndrome, I would focus my attention on them and see what they were doing. And, you know, are they walking? Are they talking? Are they, you
Where
know,
that?
yeah. And I would always go and say hello and ask questions as well if I you know, if the conversation flowed.
And the thing that's happened since the books have started to come out, you've become a bit of an ambassador within this community, sharing and connecting people, because you are a very resourceful person by nature. So you've always figured out what's available to us, what can help make life easier and all that sort of stuff. Whereas some other parents might feel like they're completely on their own. So what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, and that's very, very true that you do. And you do feel like that a little bit, especially at the start. My advice to them is to get in contact with some sort of support, whether it's your local Down syndrome group or a group that you find online, and start connecting with other people. Some people feel like they don't need that because they just want to do it on their own. But it's like when you have a baby for the first time, you know, you go to a first mums group and you're all it's like-minded people. So your baby might be doing something that you think, oh my God, why are they doing that? And then you go to the group.
Me.
Yeah, you go to the group and all the other babies, or some of the other babies are doing, and it just makes you feel normal, I guess. You know, not many people like using that word, but sometimes we need to use it. So I would say, just reach out to somebody. You know, the support can come from the most unlikely person sometimes, you know. And who you relate to. You know, there's some amazing groups out there, and during COVID I connected with quite a few of them, and we've been fortunate to be part of their mission as well, which is to raise awareness and show the beautiful side of Down syndrome, as you know, because because you do get that negative information from the doctors. And when you get a prenatal diagnosis, you know, I'm hoping it's changed now, but from some of the stories it hasn't in my book. You know, they do talk about termination a lot, and some of the rates around the world are quite high, and they don't need to be, because you know, these guys can be just as impactful on the world as anybody else. And you know, they can enjoy employment, they can do well at school, they can all sorts of things, you know, like it doesn't matter how long it takes.
Just other stuff that you don't get to learn from, you know, people that are not like that. So like, you know, I think, as you said, you've learned so much. Darcy's taught you so much, and I'm sure the parents that share their stories within this book, you know, often share some of the things that never would have happened. There's always a silver lining in moments of where you feel like, oh, you know, I don't want this to be happening to me and all that kind of stuff. But then you stop and you go, it was all for a reason. I needed to walk this path and have this journey, and this person was sent my way to teach me some of the lessons I needed to learn in this lifetime, right?
Oh yeah.
So how long did it take you to pull together the 12 stories?
Yeah, I was trying to think about that the other day, actually, because the publishing process has been the same as the other books. It's gone through quite quickly. But probably about 12 months, I'd say, from start to finish, like from planning and who I was going to ask.
Involve other people. When other people come on this journey to pull together a book, it's always a little bit more complicated, because you're relying on other people. You're wanting to send them, you know, if you interviewed them verbally and then you transcribed and then tidied it up and showed them and get an answer, not every person is, you know, we'll get back to you on time, and sort of the time blows out sometimes, you know, quite a lot. But 12 months, I think that's a really good timeline to pull together 12 people to come up with a pretty big book for what, So what's the intention for this book? Is it just now you have like a trilogy around this? You can call it your little trilogy that people can buy it as a pack as well. But what I know, Jules, you also offer support to families,
Yes.
and you mentor them around finding support and resource. It's like I would say you're like a person, you know how sometimes you're in business, and this is something I wasn't aware of in my early years, probably in the first 7 years of my business. I wasn't aware that there were grants available that could help you grow your business, right? And then someone said, why don't you go for this export grant? Like you're taking your business to USA and all this sort of stuff. And then even last year I worked with a grant specialist, actually one of our authors, Kim Yavsley, and then you know, we were able to generate $100,000 worth of grants for our business to help grow and all that sort of stuff. You are the same kind of person. People don't know what's out there, right? And I believe like you connect the dots because you've been through it before, right? Or you know where the groups are, you know, you're shortcutting that whole system of people are kind of feeling lost. Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm not really sure like where to look. You could like go, bing, shortcut, save them time. And you know, like because they're super busy in their own lives. Would you say, is that the right kind of metaphor of describing how you can help families? Or
that's one of the things. And because it is quite daunting, and some people, like even with the ease of the internet and Google and everything now, you still you don't know where you're going to land, and you know it's quite daunting. Should I call these people? Shouldn't I? So I have assisted some families with that, and also with goals and strategies for their kids, because sometimes you can bang your head against the wall with your own child because you've tried a couple of things that you can think of and it's not working. And then someone else will come in and say, well, have you tried this or have you tried that? And it's like, oh, okay, we'll try that. And the other thing is I always say to people, if it doesn't work the first time, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, because these guys, especially kids with Down syndrome, they do take a little while longer to learn things. So, you know, just what you do now might not work now, but it might work in 12 months' time or things like that. So I give them that confidence to just keep trying and not give up as well. So I really enjoy that.
Every beginning is hard, right? Every beginning is hard.
That's right.
As my mum said, you got to keep going. And I think then you reach, if you keep trying, you reach a tipping point where something will work. And just because if one strategy doesn't work, doesn't mean something else won't.
That's right. And to keep trying, like, you know, I mean, we've been working with Darcy on lots of things, and these last 12 months, he's overcome some fears that he had. And, you know, we're still working on other goals as well, but he's slowly but surely ticking those off. And it hasn't mattered. Once he's achieved it, it hasn't mattered how long it's taken.
How long it took. No, I think it's the same for us. I think, you know, you do your best, and sometimes it feels out of reach, and you keep going and going and going, and you have to have, it's like having a kid. You forget all the pain you have to go through to have the kid as soon as it's like there, and then it's like, you know, move on to the next step. And that's wonderful, like, because so few people in the world overall they don't set goals, let alone in a situation like this. Setting goals is so important to make you feel like you're progressing and that you're moving forward in whatever capacity you possibly can.
That's right. And and sometimes you'll have a big goal and it might seem really unreachable, but setting little goals to reach that big goal is a strategy as well that I can help with families, because I've done that with Darcy myself. So and I've listened to my friends with older kids who have, you know, they're doing things like moving into supported accommodation and, you know, things like that, but they're not just moving out like a typical child would. They have to work on learning how to, you know, manage that as well, like doing their washing and shopping and making a list and paying bills. You know, they can learn all of that as well. They can live independently. So, you know, it's daunting, but it's doable, that's for sure. But anything, even through school, there might be a big goal that you want them to achieve, but it might seem unreachable. So you just got to break it down into smaller goals to reach that bigger goal. So
I love that. Yeah, no, very cool. So this is how you support, as a result of the books, this is the support that you have available. And also you do a bit of speaking. Last night you actually messaged me this morning to say that you won a speaking like challenge that you were part of, and then you're going to get another opportunity. Tell us a little bit about the speaking that you can do, because maybe there's someone listening to this interview and kind of go, oh my God, I need her to speak to my people, my group, and all that sort of stuff. So you did a TED talk.
Yes, I've done a TED
Which
talk.
I would love to share below this live, the link. We'll find that link. And also, guys, the book From the Hearts of Mums is currently a pre-sale, but Jules's website is down. Otherwise, it's normally juliefisher.com.au, but she does have a pre-sale link. The book's only literally weeks away from coming out. As she said, proof copy is going to be in her hands hopefully this week. And then checking that off, you know, finalizing it, and boom, like I literally think maybe just 3 weeks away. So snap it up at the pre-launch price via the link that we'll also post. We'll probably just get off, when we get off this, we'll share her TED talk and the pre-launch link. And I think it's wonderful to support, you know, families like this to get the information out there to more and more people. So back to the speaking.
Yeah.
I know I got distracted. I was thinking you've done so much. Like, you know, I've had you. I've been very blessed to have you in my life now for 4 years coming up in May. Probably we've known each other now more than 4, since the day we met was 9 months before your actual program attendance.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've seen how much you've kind of grown, and when 3 books later, a TED talk, obviously these, you know, opportunities. Tell us about the speaking you have been doing, and what other speaking maybe opportunities are you looking for?
Yeah, so the main one is my passion, which is, you know, inclusion and acceptance, but it's about the everyday stuff. Like, it's about how important it is to be aware of stairs, because like for Darcy, like I look at people too. I find people fascinating, but I smile at them or I give them a wave. And when somebody's looking at Darcy, I just immediately think it's negative. So it's very important to be aware of that. And I want people to know how much it affects us, especially as well, words, like when people say stuff, and people do say stuff. They say really nasty stuff, or they point at him and they laugh, or they point at him and they say, oh, look at him. And, you know, it's not nice. Like, it's awful. And they're people that don't matter in our lives. They don't come home with us, but they leave such a big impact. So I want to be that change maker, and I want to give other parents the confidence to take their kids out and deal with that as well. I've got friends that won't take their kids to certain places because of what they've experienced there, because people have said something, or they've pointed, or their kids. I mean, just even the other day, people say to me, surely you know, you don't need to be talking about that now. Well, the other day I read a post that said, we were at the park and a little boy came up to my son and said, your sister looks disgusting. Now, I know that that's just a little kid, but wow, you know, I mean, that's going to stay with that mum for the rest of her life. She's going to remember that for the rest of her life. So we really need to just be kind and realize that, you know, people like Darcy and lots of people, everybody with a disability is a person first with feelings just like us. So, but I've also been asked to speak about unexpected journeys to women's groups.
Wonderful.
And you know, sort of the impact of them and what we do with them, and then I just share my story about the big unexpected journeys and how they've changed my life, in particular, you know, Darcy and the books, and you know what I'm doing now, the people I'm meeting, and you know, the people I'm helping. Even with my first book, I had a lady come up and at an expo, just random, and she received my book in a care package, and she said, I wanted to thank you for saving my daughter's life. And I said, oh, I tried to be really cool and calm, but the tears were welling up. And I said, oh, how did that happen? How did that come about? And she said, well, we were going to terminate because the doctors told us, you know, that, you know, we should, pretty much. And they got a care package with my book. So she said, I read your book and it completely changed our mind. And here she is. Look at her. She's beautiful, and, you know, she's healthy, and thank you so much. So, you know, stuff like that. I share that story a lot when I speak as well, because it's very powerful, you know.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And
what a rewarding journey. Like, I think we often try to communicate to budding authors, you know, if you can just change one life. I had an email like that from a person who read my original weight loss book that I traveled around on a Kentucky tour when I was like much younger, in my 20s, and she had picked up my first book, and she says it's become her Bible around staying on track. And it's like, to me, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But she said, you changed my life, because I was going down a spiral that, and I just keep going back and keep rereading, and it's like, wow, it's such a good feeling. And I think then it spreads. You're involved in international groups, and you're such an amazing networker. That's what I love about you, is that, you're like how you said, how accepting Darcy is pretty much of everyone. I think that's rubbed off on you. For the person that I know of you, like, you'll talk to anybody, you'll like go up to anybody, like without any, like, you're very accepting as well. So that's such a wonderful trait to have. And I can see all of those wonderful things in your personality as well, and how accepting you are of our community of authors that you support on the way when they're getting stressed. You always stay calm, show them that next step and all that sort of stuff. So you're the one that just like can just bring them back into, it's all right, let's just take the next step in your goal, in your big goal of publishing a book. So yeah, look, I'm super proud of you. You're smashing through books, and it really, all the things you should be doing, you are doing. You're doing the speaking. I know you've had media, you've got radio. What's the radio thing every Tuesday? What's the show?
Yeah, so it's called The Unexpected Journey, and it's on our local community radio, RPPFM, and it's every Tuesday 2 till 3, and it's another platform where I can share service providers and to the local community, what they offer and how they can get in contact with them. So it's just another little way of getting that message out there. And if Tina, I have a co-host, which is my support friend, Tina. If we don't have a guest, we talk about experiences that we've had and things like that, and what we've done with our kids. So, there's always lots of great information coming out of that. And the feedback we've got of that is fabulous. So it's lots of fun too. Lots of fun.
That's another thing. Like, I keep seeing all the things you've done. Like, she's got her own radio show. What's the exact frequency of the station, in case Melbourne people are want to log on 2 p.m. Melbourne time every Tuesday?
Except not this week, because we've got retreat tomorrow.
That's right, we've got retreat tomorrow. But what's the frequency?
It's 98.3 or 98.7, but you can listen live on their website. So you can listen Australia-wide on their website.
And what is it?
RPPFM.
There you go, guys. Tune in to hear Jules on there as well. And we'll post the links for the book pre-launch. Maybe also share your website. Just know that just at this current time today, being 20th of February 2023, it's down, but it'll be up probably after that, and the book will be up there as well as soon as it's launched. But there's a pre-launch link where you can just pre-purchase it. Then we're going to post the TED talk that you did. I thought that was really moving. I highly recommend you spend the 15 or 17 minutes they go for, having a listen. And congratulations on winning that challenge also.
I know.
Yesterday, it's all good things happen. What is it? Good things happen to those that hustle or who get out there. Time passes and people think you're lucky, but you've worked the last 17 years to getting to this point, to sharing your experiences and actually putting it together so it doesn't just stay in your mind, but it actually now serves other people, gives them hope and shortcuts on how to deal with a family, a different family from what's considered normal, as we say. That word. And just while you were talking, I thought, oh my God, you could have like a hashtag campaign. You know how they have like a hashtag this, hashtag. I was thinking stop staring or stop the stare. Yeah, because you always talk about that every time I talk to you. I was just like, you always mention it. It always is the thing that comes up. And I thought that would be a really cool hashtag campaign. We could like to spread that awareness about it. And it wouldn't be just for, I guess, Down syndrome families. It could be for anyone that maybe has a visual disability.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. It counts for lots of different people in the community.
There you go. Take that idea, put it out there before someone else listens to the interview and takes it from us. But anyway, guys, thank you, Jules, for popping in today. Please show us your cover of the new book that's soon coming out one more time, guys.
Yes.
As you saw behind Jill's other unexpected journey and the magic of inclusion, there it is, beautiful illustration from the hearts of mums, 12 inspirational stories of mums who have had children with Down syndrome, lived with them between the age of 2 and 73. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 and 73. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole lifespan of experiences and insights there.
I've
Have an amazing
loved,
guys.
yeah.
Go
I've
on.
loved putting it together. It's been really, really a great ride getting it all together, and I can't wait to get it out there
And
for
you
everybody.
give mums the platform to at least start sharing part of their story. Now in a chapter, maybe you'll inspire them to write whole books.
Yes.
Of their own. Love it. Love it. Awesome. All right, guys, have an awesome week and go ahead and smash it out. Bye.